and good morning. How's everyone today? It's been a while. I know. I gotta get back into this. Finally, stuff around here is starting to cool off. I'll probably get back to it. Finally got our longest existing branch at work merged back. Yay. Longest featured branch ever. Over a year. I think it was 14 months. Well, that's going out soon. So that'll be good. I can get back to doing stuff like this. I updated OBS this morning, so hopefully everything goes all right. We shall see. Oh, I gotta turn back on the automatic scene switcher. There we go. Let's see if it works. Oh, look at that. What's that one? Oh, I was, yeah. All right, so we're gonna be looking at some more of this Godot stuff. Godot control project. Actually, why am I using nightly on this? I was using nightly for Bevy. I don't really want to use nightly for this. I'll fix that later. One thing that I'm doing at the moment is actually stripping out the template from my project. I'm not a fan of the template. We come back into the Godot-Rust project. This here, I think it's got a lot of good stuff in it. But I think it's got too much stuff, and it's a little prescriptive. Like license is by default MIT. That's definitely not going to be my game. It's got the shell.nix, which I don't use. So it just leaves a bunch of stuff that sh here. A bunch of stuff that I don't use. Now I can see the case for having a smaller version of this or a separate version, right? As this one seems to be a little bit more prescriptive for a certain kind of thing. So I might use this for reference in the future, but I'm not going to use this for my project. It's got a lot of things solved. However, what I do like is the way that the book is instructing you to set up. And it goes through and it talks about, you know, how to set up your project, what the structure suggested structure should be. Yeah, I don't like this one. Ooh, I've not done any game development in a while. A little rusty. Ta-dunch. All right, well, this here, I think this is a fairly good structure where you have your native project here, you've got your Godot project side by side. Yes, good morning and good afternoon to you. Wizard Frag, how you doing? It's Thursday. It's almost your Friday then, huh? But yeah, most of this is already taken care of. Already done most of this. Native script resource. I'm curious though, because in the make file for that template, which was on the previous page, into this section here, go back to the template, or where we had been. In the make file here, cargo, there was a cargo watch in here. Is there not? Nope. Hey, Leviska. I am working on a smaller project at the moment. The big one is on hold just for a little bit. I will come back to it, but I wanted to get something a little bit more finished. So the big project is actually a very big project, and I've spent a huge amount of time on it, but just needed a mental break from it for a little bit. So we're working on a smaller game, which is more of a psychological thriller. Let's see. Oh, Capitan is awake today. Good. But it's kind of early on in the process, and I think it'll be small enough to still have some fun with it. See, this one's named correctly. This is not how you override stuff. Oh, and it was perfect timing. I'd picked up a humble bundle. What was it? There was this audio one. It just came out. It's fantastic. Let's see if they still have it. It wasn't like a composition thing. It was more of the game audio. Let's see, 12 bundles. It's probably gone now, but hopefully we can still point to it. Ah, you know what? It's probably in my email. Hold on a moment. Flip to a tab that you can't see. Where is it? They send so many ads too. I'm having trouble finding the one I got. Ooh, let me search for receipt. Here we go. Oh, it's a royalty-free music bundle. Thanks for the ad. Okay. Oh, it's not there. But basically, if we can find some. Hey, morning, Mr. Ed Makes. How you doing? I'm gonna see if we can play some. 'Cause it's royalty free, and I think streaming is one of the allowed things. Let's see if I can find some real quick. Where'd it go? Did I leave it in my downloads, or did I move it? Oh, here we go. And they've got a PDF in here. It's by Dark Fantasy Studio. All right, so a couple of these here. Let's preview. Let's see. Oh, Once Upon a Nightmare. Let's that one or Slasher. Let's listen to the Slasher one. Actually, I don't know if I have even the audio piped through with this. Here, I'm going to set up loop back here. Can Firefox actually play one of these? See, there are WAV files. If I drag and drop this, what happened? Oh, no, I want the MP3. All right, here. Now let's get loopback set up. Pause on Pretzel for just a moment. I know this is taking way longer. I never needed to set up loopback on this new virtual device, Firefox. All right. Add a monitor, my headset. Okay. And OBS. Oh, just not. Let me check something else. Oh, maybe I should rename that. Let's do it a different way. Rename this to OBS. We'll add a second source. That'll be Firefox. There we go. Let's see if this still picks it up. I renamed that device OBS. Okay, so the system bits did follow through. Oh, hey, Orly, good morning. Oh, every engine will always be improving. Isn't that the case? All right, let's see. Oh, there we go. New coding music. This stuff is perfect for this game. I think it's going to set the ambiance very well. It's going to be great. That is like the biggest part of like any game is getting the soundtrack, getting the score. Because without the score, you don't have basically the world behind the screen, like the setting. It's huge. I think for something like the psychological thriller, this is going to make all the difference. Here, let's switch to a different track. I don't know, I got like 12 albums or something. Here, let's try this one. Not bad, right? I'll check on something while we do this. And this is going to be It's great music for this. Let's see, I want to go to issues. Know what I forgot? Probably be in this window here. So let's. There we go. Morning, sarcastic Dante. How are you? We're listening to some of the score from the Humble Bundle, and working on some other stuff. I also had one other thing I wanted to look at. What is it? Creates.io. FTW. Let's go to the repository. And this is very similar to the template stuff. I'm looking for. Wait, are there any issues? No issues at all, ever. No pull requests either. Oh, okay. What was I thinking of then? Where was that thing? I know, I know. What thing? What thing, they ask? Um, thought I saw something about getting the reloading working on Mac. You're using a custom build of Godot anyways? Huh. Oh, interesting. Two days ago. Oh, interesting. Create another GDN lib alongside the templates GDN lib. Oh, I see. You heard U.S. employees have to pass some background check process? For what? For employment? Depends on where you're getting employed. Yeah. I mean, let's see, if you're like going to work as security detail for like transporting nuclear waste, yeah, they're gonna do a little background check, interview your family, all that stuff. But I think we all expect that, don't we? We don't want just anybody transporting that stuff. Oh yeah, yep. Microsoft has that stuff. Oh, I don't see it. Yeah, Microsoft does have such processes. I'm an ex-Microsoft employee. Been through the process. All right, let's get Pretzel back. It's on the Surprise Me station. They're using some third party to do that? Why would that be a bad thing? I mean, businesses are specialized to do different things. The downside, though, is that a lot of their background checks are really shallow, right? They're just verifying previous employment and ensuring that everything that you've said to them is correct. And one of the companies I had worked for basically got purchased and vanished, right? All of this stuff didn't get transferred to like new HR or whoever the purchasing company was. So all those records weren't there, and I had to give them tax documents saying that yes, look, I was employed by them, even though they don't exist anymore. Well, there's no such thing in Europe. So how does a company know that you haven't lied on your CV or your resume? Well, the same thing, your application and your CV. Let's get to some coding. I've also been part of a company that had. I saw 8 people get fired all at once. Because they had all lied on their CVs. Very early on in my career. All right, so we're gonna go into. I want to make sure it builds. Cargo build. Okay, that works. And I don't know if I'm gonna keep up with the Bevy ECS bits. Might do something else with that. We'll see. I just want someplace to store my monster data, but maybe we can make this a little bit more simple and generic. Okay, this is in the Rust side. We'll open the editor here, lib, and Mac OS X. Wait, we can do it like this. We can do that. Does this work? Oh, dash. Fine. That should work, yes. Okay, here's a project. And OBS is going to have a black screen on this. Let me fix that. Where is Godot? Godot's right here. Oh, it didn't. It was fine. Okay. Right. Let's go into our scenes. We're going to go to border. Here we go. And if we look at our scene here, we've got the border, we've got a script set up, we've got some assets here that we set up in Blender. And now we can change the width, the height of these border elements, and the thickness of it. That custom UI widgets. It's gonna be good. I want to get the I think a lot of this is gonna be used quite a bit in here. I want to get it improved. We're just gonna hit save there. We're gonna come back over here to game. We've got the intercom, the map, and then we need one more, which is going to be the control panel. So we're going to duplicate this one. Oops. Duplicate. Keypad. There we go. Let's set this up. Intercom. Oh, these are different scenes. Okay, I screwed that up. Let's delete this. Where's delete? Oh, the bottom. Needed to scroll. Intercom's its own scene, isn't it? Yes. I thought there used to be back buttons right there. Oh, well. And create another scene. Scene, new scene, 3D scene, keypad, and keypad has linked scene called border. Okay. Save that in scenes, keypad, save. Now coming back over here, link scene, keypad, done. You've had almost no issues printing from Linux. You can never get your mom's Windows laptop to print. That's funny. Okay. The intercom's going to be the one on the left, I believe. We'll have the keypad in the middle and the map on the right. I don't know, maybe, no, let's leave the map in the middle. Okay, then keypad's going to go off to the right a little ways. Let's look at the front again, front view. There we go, okay. Man, that gizmo is just hard to see, isn't it? Yeah, let's move you over there somewhere. Okay. Now, intercom. Where's our settings here? Editable children. You too, editable children. What? I have to do it one at a time. Okay. Okay. Border thickness. Let's set it to 1 for no. Oh, that's horrible. 0.3. Something like that. 4 maybe. Alright, and the height needs to be something that we can work with here. Let's say our view. Project settings. Okay. I'm curious why it's not showing the view at the moment. Oh, because we're not in 2D. That's why. All right, we'll just choose a height. So for this, it's probably going to be more portrait than landscape. So the height, let's set the height to something. Work with 10 with 5 now. That might work. Map, border, height 10. Do I have a square map? Here, border 10. Right. 10 thickness, what was it, 0.4? And the width for the keypad is going to be thin. No, that's not it. 6. That might, we'll adjust that. Transform for the keypad itself. X, Y, 0, okay. It's on 0. Let's go back to the map. Transform. Well, that one's at 0, 0. And keypad's at 0, 0? Oh, no. Well, of course it's not, but... Intercom. Okay, that one's at the right place. Keypad's at the right place. What map? Oh, map is not at the right place. Scene, border, transform. There. Set that back to 0, 0. Save that, come back to game. Good. Alright. Oh. Moved way too many. Back into selection. Everything. Actually, I want the leftmost one, the intercom, to be 0, 0. Let's reset it to 0, 0. The map will have to move to the right. Not the Y, the X. Wow, that isn't just... Intercom is how wide? Border 9. We could build a little control that would automatically space these. It's a waste of time at the moment. What is that? What is that? Process. Like, we could spend like 2 days building some sort of control that would automatically lay this out, or we could just lay it out in like 5 seconds, right? Well, 5 minutes. There's a named, not return on investment. There's something else. Say border. This one is width 10. Was the intercom 10 as well? Oh, the width was 9. Okay, so we're leaving 1 unit gap. So here we'll set this at 19 or more. Perspective front view. $21. Okay. And I think they all have to be 1 unit down, or whatever the border was. 1. So I just want that one, and that one, not the inner ones. Oop, negative 0.5. Oh, the border here in the middle one is not the same as the others. 4, there we go. And we're going to move them all over by 0.5 as well. Yep, move that in. There we go. Run that, should be blank nothing. Great. Okay, let's get the rest of the scene set up. I'm gonna go back to intercom. The reason I did the those pieces separate is I wanted to be able to treat them a little different. I wanted the rounded corners. Basically, I wanted a 9 grid, but in 3D space and not the Godot one for whatever reason. All right, so we're also going to add a child node plane. I want a 3D element, so not a canvas item, a spatial item. Oh, what is it called? Really? Camera, yep, there's camera. Oh, visual instance, there we go. Geometry instance. Is it just a mesh instance? They have, oh, CSG primitives. We want plane. Guess we could just use mesh instance. But I thought they had a, CSG mesh. That's what I want. Border background. Do I know of any requirements to spawn a Tokyo task other than the runtime has to be running? It has to be on the same thread. Like there's threading requirements. Okay. And when I say same thread, that's kind of hand wavy. But yeah, spawning tasks can't be on any random thread. It has to be on a thread that Tokyo knows of and is configured for. Hey, I'll be right back. Dog's freaking out. Alright, dog is still freaking out, but staring off in one direction into the darkness. That's a bit weird? I don't think it's a bit weird. Well, Tokyo is different from some of the other ones in that they have their reactor and runtime kind of combined, like it's in the same project, and that's how they get their, like, the top end perf. If you look at small and the things that are built from small, it's more a la carte, and you don't get the same kind of perf. It's like 90%, I think, of what Tokyo can do. But correct me if I'm wrong, if somebody knows better about that. You know what, let's make the background part of these. Let's do that. Delete node. I'm gonna make it part of, yeah, border. Not really a border now, is it? We add that. All right, CSG mesh. And in here, we can see it's new plane mesh. Material's empty, that's fine. It behaves weird, how so? How does it behave weird? You spawn a task from Pulse Audio API callback. You don't get anything until there's another callback. So it's blocking? Sounds like it's blocking. Oh, it's facing the wrong way. That's what's going on. CSG mesh, transform, rotate along X, say 90. Does this have backing face? No, good. We want this at 0, 0, almost. Oh, is this going to scale from its middle? More like it's buffering. So are you trying to have like multiple tasks and one of them is managing this Pulse Audio API? I'm trying to guess, but it's kind of hard. Can you describe it a little more? Yeah, let's take a look. Probably. This never gets called. Why? Okay. They're async moving this. Oh, I see. Yeah, this here means that the thread that's currently that Tokyo is using for this async task is blocking. Never gets called on first event. Wait. On first event. Sorry, I misread. I just read verse forward. On first event. Let's take a little more context. Okay. What do we have here? Connect. Okay, so you have an MPSC channel that takes sub messages. Fine. So you're creating a main loop for something there. That's fine. Got an inner borrowing something here. Is this basically Pulse Audio stuff? The context, stuff like that? So I see. So you're using Tokyo main, which is going to be the multi-threaded runtime unless your cargo config has that disabled. Okay. Using env logger. So, hold on, what was the other function called? This was inside of connect. Oh, this is main, okay. You're passing the sender here. Where do you start with Godot and Rust? I would suggest reading through the book. It's not very long, don't worry. And that'll help you get your project set up in kind of like the canonical way. Godot-Rust. So I would start here. If you haven't seen this, a lot of people have not seen this. I'm just gonna include that for completeness. I would suggest not actually using the template. First off, it references a template in here. Going into the getting started guide, I think at the bottom of the setup page, when it goes through and says, hey, using the template, you can do this. I would suggest not using this yet. Just use that as a reference, get used to everything else. Use the hello world example, go through, set this all up, so you know where all the pieces are. Anything marked as to do is lacking. So it's kind of up front there. The examples, I think, are good examples. Looking through, running them, making sure they work on your machine. That'd be a good test. And the Space Blasters one, I forget what it's called, the space one, is fairly complete. I would suggest using that as a learning point. And I think most of the examples are fairly specific to what they're trying to accomplish, outside of the kind of little completed game there. Oh, and there's also the Discord server. Let's see, do I have a link to that one? I don't know if I do. Oh, there it is, GD native. It's right in there. That's the Discord. And of course, my Discord. And really, it's just for hanging out if you have questions, whatever. Mine, anyways. The Godot-Rust one has, we call it Godot-Rust. I think it's GD native in places, Godot-Rust in places. So if you're on crates.io, it's GD native. If you're on GitHub, it's Godot-Rust. Marketing is hard. All right. Yeah, you're welcome. And I'd pick, some small target that you want to do first. And use Godot for what Godot is good at. Use Rust for what Rust is good at. Like here, we're organizing a bunch of stuff inside of the Godot editor, which is just fantastic because we don't have to worry about, you know, what it looks like when we're dealing with code. And then we can go back and adjust the code, etc. I wish there was an easier way in Godot to set the origin point on objects. I mean, I could probably make it its own scene, and then do that, then resize that thing. See, if we take this, the CSG mesh, and save branch as scene, background, and then we go into there. Then we can set this wherever we want. We can set this back here, set it at 0, 0, or close enough for now, for the example. And then when we go to scale that, it still, no, okay, didn't do what I expected. Oh. Okay, the name stayed the same. I thought something else changed. Sorry, Sartastic Dante, I completely got off track. Thank you. Good morning, Xenocron. How have you been? So inside of here, this task works. Now, when you say that this never gets called in the first event, on the first list result end? So this happens, but this doesn't, I think is what you're saying. But then it shows up on the second event? That's going all right. Enjoying some Rust. Man, I miss Rust. I love Rust. Rust is such a good language. So, Sarcastic Dante, I don't know if you caught my questions, but line 109 versus 111, does this happen and then this never does? Or that line 111 gets called once if 109 gets called twice? Yeah, getting I don't know, getting on a decent team doing Rust, I think sounds like my dream gig right now. That would be so fun. I mean, you see a lot of these jobs out there, job postings. There's a bunch in AWS. 109 is logging properly. So every time that 109 logs, what does 111 do? It gets logged, just not in the first event? Oh, phone. Be right back. All right, I'm back. One 11 is logged. First event during the second event. I see. So so this function here, this whole thing is on a thread, right? It's an async task, and actually, why? I'm guessing that you want to put something else in here, but why? Why are you not using the sender outside of the async move here? Is it because you don't want this loop to pause? Check the link for logs. Oh, the second link. Thank you. Copy link location. All right, and go back to here. Let's organize our tabs a little bit. Okay, so coming back up. This never gets called on first. Okay. Pulse audio API doesn't accept sync functions and oh. Is this inside of a callback I missed here? Yeah. Got it. Okay, so that's why it's inside of this async. So I'm guessing what's going on here is that you're on a thread, and that this thread is blocking for some reason. Right, so that this is never getting run. Now, CTX borrow says subscribe callback, like all of this is running. Then we get down to main loop borrow run. Yeah, so in this case, you're basically freezing this thread, right? You're saying this thread runs this loop forever, go. Right? And it never has a chance to come up for air, this guy. So what you either need to do is put this inside of a oh, what's it called? Let's go to the Tokyo docs. Spawn blocking. Put in something like this. And it'll kick it off into some other place where it, sorry. Trying to get back to the code that you had. It's not going to be an issue. Because this loop right here, I'm guessing is just going to run forever. Xenocron. Take anything that isn't Python. Now, if this is the only async that you have in this, I didn't look. I see you have some other async spawn bits here. What is this? SSA callback. Is this one working? I'm guessing that this one's broken too. Okay, yeah. So that's basically it. This main loop here is just not returning control back to the Tokyo runtime. You can think of it that way. Like you've entered while true loop right here. Okay, and there's no ability for Tokyo to jump back into this. This isn't like Tokyo isn't going to be like threads, right? You have to return from something to be able to let something else run. And when you have async code blocks like this, it's basically building out a state machine. But this part of the state machine can't be accessed. So you need to toss this into that spawn blocking, something like this. And Tokyo will kick that off onto its own thread. And then the rest of this should still be able to run. Now I'm guessing that's going to throw a wrench in this. Because here we have connect and sender, and you're expecting... Oh, no, you're expecting to block here. Or this one. Because this one's a send, this one's handle await. Where's handle? Oh, yeah. This is going to run through... Oh, no, you got a loop here. So while the receiver still has stuff, and where's this receiver getting stuff? So if you ever disconnect, then you spawn this, I see. And why are you using a sized channel? Okay, modules. There's async. Or sync. Let's see. MPSC. So there's unbound sender, unbound receiver. Then there's bound sender and bound receiver. Unbound sender, send, is not async. So you could use this inside of that callback to be able to send the messages, and you wouldn't have to spawn it inside of the only difference is that it's going to be unbound. Right? That channel is going to be unbound. So you could use this instead. Alternatively, if we go back to the bound sender and receiver, you can also try send here, or blocking send, right? Now the only reason that this would block is if the other thread didn't have cycles to actually pick that up. So I don't know what the performance profile is of what you're targeting here. But if you don't want that buffer to grow indefinitely, then sure, using a bound channel is probably your best bet. But if you want to have the ability to have a little sponginess in that buffer, you could either just make it really big and use something like this. And you're going to get a small check. If we look at the source on this, blocking send, it's going to block on self.send. All right, where's self.send? Let's go back. Send the async bit here. So yeah, self.reserve and make sure that there's enough room to send it. Wait for channel capacity. So there's a way either way, right? Or you could just drop the packets with the try send. If this fails, drop the packet or the buffer. All sorts of possibilities. So blocking send gave you that, huh? Cannot start runtime from within a runtime. Oh. Did you take it out of the async block? I guess you did. Well, maybe try the unbound channels then. Those shouldn't have an issue. But that's an interesting error. Not start runtime from within a runtime. Blocking send, is that what that does? I say outside of async context, which means that in this case they want you to do a send timeout or try send. Oh no, man, I haven't looked at Tokyo in a while. I keep following it, but most of my time with it has been fun. I really don't mind spending time in Tokyo. Nice little side quest. Whoa, we're going over here. Back to this. I need to search and see Godot change origin. Is it possible to change mesh instance point of origin? Perfect, that's what I want. Oh, parented to a spatial. Oh, okay. Yeah, looks like parenting it to a spatial is the way to go. Alright, so we tried that and having the background here. Let's close this. Did we save that? I hope not. Nope, good. Oh, no, looks like we did. Background. Let's delete that. Delete. Move. Here's border. Basically building my own controls, aren't I? Go ahead and delete that and make it new. Okay, get rid of that. Alright, spatial. We'll call that background. And then on that, CSG, mesh, and that we need to rotate. Geometry? No, not geometry. Where'd the transform go? Did I miss it? Oh, it's just further down. 90? Uh-oh. Oh, I forgot to give it a mesh type. Mesh. Just a plain mesh is fine. Okay. No? Still nothing. Where are you? Okay, I want to turn the visibility off for everything else. CSG mesh. Snap. 0. Just that looks fine. So our scale there. Why can't we see this CSG mesh? Focus selection. Am I looking at the back of it? Where is it? Perspective. Front view. Wow. Visibility on. Let's make sure it's plugged in. On. All right, and if we put this, we parent it. Oh, it's there. Put it there. Godot bug? Yeah, regardless. Let's keep going. Okay, so the CSG mesh, we're going to rotate it. Rotation degree is 90 here. And I think it's 2 by 2, so we'll say it's at 1, 1. Oh, negative 1. In this case. There, then we have our background mesh, and we can turn everything else back on. Tick. I do wish that this had the you know, we should make this the size of the CSG mesh smaller. Let's edit this for a minute. Size 1 by 1. There we go. That means our offset needs to be half. 0.5, negative 0.5. There we go. Now we can use easy math. It's trademarked. Easy math. To scale that with the rest of them. We should be able to use that to fill in the rest of this. Unbounded is wild. I agree. Right, I'm gonna have to rename this from that to like canvas or something. Controls. Yes. It didn't send any message except the first disconnect? And then the application shut down, right? Oh, you killed... you should spawn the pulse audio bit in the spawn blocking. That infinite loop that pulse audio does needs to be inside of a spawn blocking. Well, let's try again. Controls. Let's call this canvas. Oh, it's an indexing. It's gonna take it a minute. There's that. But we now need to change cargo watch build. This needs to change its script. No longer needs to be boarded at GTNS. It needs to be control native. Uh-oh. Make sure I save everything. Good. Try again. Load, native, canvas. Give that a save. Project quit to list because the DLL changed. To reload that. Yep. Okay, good. We still have the border settings. Out of curiosity, in native, GDNlib, where is this pointing to? Cancel. Debug, control.so, okay. OSX. Rust, control, target, debug, lib control. Seems predictable. I wonder if it's because it's outside of... So it's supposed to work, but whenever I make a change to this library, it doesn't pick up the change. It's supposed to. If I'm running the game, that's different. That's perfectly fine. If I restart the game, it'll pick up the change. But because I'm building these tool controls, I'd expect it to unload and reload this library, but it doesn't. I'm wondering if that is because it is outside of Godot's little system here. Okay, we're inside of Rust there, which isn't the /Godot directory. That's one of the differences that this other project has. Project utils here. No, not that one. The template. I thought that the make file they end up copying. Where is it? We're moving mv-b, that's what it was, into libdirt build target. And I wonder if the process of moving that in actually fixes it. Oh, we could try. Maybe do like a hard link or something. I'll have to experiment with that later. Coming back here. I'm gonna change canvas. Alright, so when we set our size here, could get these at the very beginning. Let's get refs to these. Ah, spawn blocked work. Lovely. Oh, and thank you for the sub. I'm happy to help, man. We're gonna get the background. It's a spatial object. We just need to change its scale. Let's do this. We can do this at the top or the bottom. I don't care. Set the background. Let's see, translation, it's always going to be 0. We're just going to leave it alone. Scale, though. Width and height. Should be a 1-to-1 here. Fairly simple, as long as the size of those are correct. Okay, that built. Come back over to Godot. Oh, look at that. I've got a background and everything. Fancy. Okay. Little controls. Okay, I want to be able to set the color on these separate from each other. Maybe the material is what I mean. Let's open that again. Here. Get the size right, upper right. Okay. So we go into the border scene, which we should probably rename. Canvas. Let's rename that. Canvas. Go into canvas, change the scene, name to canvas. And our canvas has a border. All right. It's a background, it has a border. I'm going to group these. Let's create another spatial here. Spatial. To move up. Okay, so command up is that. Let's toss you there. Take these. Put them on that. Call this border. Alright, so now we have canvas, border, and then we also have background. So we'll have border, top right, background, etc. Which means we have to change this. Let's see, what can we key off of that? WW. Border slash? Hopefully it's that way. Give that a save. Uh-oh. That's a lot of unsafe. It is. It's because we're using Rust inside of Godot, and Godot is written in C++ and maintains things in a different way than Rust does. It doesn't express the same sort of safety concerns. We'll say it that way. So we can't be certain that whenever we try to reference something, it will be there. So in this case, getting this type node, if we look at the implementation that I have here, I actually return an option saying that, okay, it may or may not be there, but I express that it's unsafe because we are calling unsafe functions from the Godot-Rust API. And that's mostly just this. Is it just this one? This assume safe? As ref is fine. Get node's fine. Assume safe. Is cast? I don't remember if cast is unsafe or not. I think it might be safe. Let's see, where's cast? Yeah, it's safe. It's safe because of the type restrictions here. Yeah, cast is okay. It's really just the assume safe. Okay. Come back. Oh, and if you notice, we'll come back here. Look, blah, blah, blah should exist. Great. My code is working. And this is the sort of thing that I want to happen. If we look at that code again, that node should exist. I wanted to scream loudly but not crash Godot. Because Godot loaded this as a DLL, as a shared object, if we panic inside of our shared object, it can also crash Godot. I think the wrapper, the API boundary is actually trying to catch panics. So our library actually might just die off. I'd have to double check, but I think in part of the the top level inits. So if we come back here, don't highlight that. Let's go back to lib. Inside of lib, this Godot init. Yeah, we got three things going on here. GD. This one? Oh. This is in the macros. Init handle, catch unwind. Here we go. I think some of this might actually not die if it's set up poorly. However, I'd just like the freedom to be able to just move things around, not have Godot panic or things silently fail. I like loud errors. So if it was going to panic and crash, that would be a loud error. But for the workflow, I'd rather just have it scream loudly. You can see in the output here, it's going to do the same thing, which is great. I think in debugger, errors, nope. Oh, that's if we do a Godot error from the Godot error macro in Rust. That's right. Reload that. All right, now everything's back to normal. Add a sound effect on error then. Siren. There be a dragon. Yes. Okay, so that's working. Let's border again. No, control. No, canvas. There we go. I'm gonna play around with the canvas here. If we go to scene, click on that. Oh, this is named poorly. This should be canvas. Should be able to resize that, yes, and the inner piece is fine. Okay. Let's change those names real quick, just for completeness, which means everything might go poorly. You'll see what I mean. I think this is what Godot is registering these properties as. And if we change this from border to control, so this one makes sense. Height is fine. Border thickness. I like them being in that border group. Let's just change those to control. Then we'll say border thickness. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it lost all our settings. No. Now we have control. These elements here. All right, well that's easy enough to fix. All right, next one I think is going to be managing the color of the border and the background separate from each other. So those materials. It'd be good to be able to, let's say, pulse a color, something like that. I gotta get to my day job. So let's wind down. What we've got in terms of any other Rust streamers out there that we can invade? Godot-Rust streamers? Oh, hold on. Let me check this other thing. I still haven't gotten Museum's tools set up. I should. I gotta do that. All right. Rust. Yeah. Rust Italic. Creating an actor framework. All right, so I am Hardliner. Oh. All right. There we go. We're gonna write this guy. Followed them yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Well, thank you all for hanging out, and I hope to get back to doing this at a more regular frequency. Maybe like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or weekdays thing. I'd like it to be every day, because I want to spend time in Rust every day. See you, Xenocron. Take care, y'all. And if you want to hang out offline, or get non-Twitch updates, we also have the Discord. And then I try to upload these to YouTube as well. So, I'll take care. Till next time. Bye-bye.